इसको वो बोल बैनर लगा
बैनर तो पहले से आ ही रहता है। उससे पहले मेरे को बोला अच्छा ठीक है मैं समझ इसी पे चलाएंगे ना। जैसे मैंने राशि को उन्होंने स्टार्ट किया मैंने राशि को लगाया काम।
A very good evening to all the guests and dignitaries present. I, on the behalf of the Aeronautical Society of India and Chairman of the Aeronautical Society of India, I would like to welcome you all. And also, I would like to welcome Shri H.S. KHOLA, Director General, former Director General, DGCA. He will be delivering a technical talk on aircraft safety and accident investigation. I would request Dr. M. Raghavendra, Chairman AeSI, Outstanding Scientist and Director PPL, to give the welcome address.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, on behalf of Aeronautical Society of India, Chandigarh chapter, I'd like to welcome today's distinguished speaker, Sri H.S. KHOLA sir, former Director General DGCA, and Professor S.C. Sharma ji, Air Marshal Suchain Singh ji, and our own Ravindra Kumar ji, former Aero Society Chairman. And I'm glad to know that some of the new members also have joined this society after the last meeting. From TBRL, about 8 scientists have joined. So we are growing in strength. I'm very happy for that. Today's event is very special for all of us. Of course, you know the reason. We have one of our senior most, and I was told that he was 1964 pass out, aeronautical engineering graduate from Punjab Engineering College. He is available with us. He has kindly accepted to give a talk to this gathering. Of course, he came for some other purpose, but we grabbed this opportunity and requested him to spare some time. And he is kind enough and he has agreed to give a talk. I was told that he just landed about 4 o'clock, and in spite of that, within half an hour, 1 hour, he became fresh and started to give, and he is ready to give a talk now. And I would like to, I know all of you are eagerly waiting for this talk. The reason is the times have changed. When he started his career, the world is of one kind. Today, the world is totally transformed. So he must have seen the complete growth of the civil aviation sector and how aerospace sector is growing in this country. And I think none of us might have born when he was graduated. So he's such a senior person, and it will be a very good pleasure for all of you to listen to him. And people from such a background, I have very high regard. The reason is they have learned in a very hard way. They have worked with their own hands. They know the actual problems, the practical issues, and great brainstorming sessions and lot of thinking, lot of hard work. They must acquire the knowledge what we are having today. So they have very rich experience. Their knowledge is like a treasure for us. So we should definitely interact with him and find out how he is feeling about today's aerospace sector and civil aviation sector, and what kind of vision he is having. So these kind of points, I think we should listen from him and try to understand. And one more important thing is DGCA is a very, very, very important post. So they are responsible for multiple things like airworthiness certification, licensing, and also safety regulations. And they are also responsible for consumer protection. So there are so many kinds of roles they are playing, and in all these areas they must have confronted multiple problems. So their knowledge and experience are definitely expecting something like 100 times of what we are having. So with these words, we are going to welcome him. So I would like to welcome him for his most awaited talk, and I'm sure the scientists from various organizations and all the members of the society will interact with him very closely and discuss with him whatever doubts they are having. And sir, once again, thank you very much for making it possible in a very short notice. And thank you very much, sir, for sparing your valuable time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I would now request Dr. Subhash to give a brief about KHS scholarship to the audience.
Good evening, sirs. I will be very brief. Very lucky to introduce you, sir. Sir, I have been joined DGCA in 1964 and he retired in 2002. And from 1993 to 2002, he was Director General Civil Aviation. Before that, also he was acting Director General for a long time. So he held various positions in DGCA. Almost every part of the DGCA organization he has had it. So after his retirement, he had many posts, retired distinguished assignments also, and that too at international level. He was senior aviation advisor for ICAO. He was chairman of DGCA committee on cars. Then he was assisting DGCA to remove all ICAO audit objections. Then he has been advisor to High Tech Systems USA, and he has been advisor to Air Services Australia. His professional qualifications include he is ex-president of Aeronautical Society of India. He is fellow also, and he is co-chairman of SSM Aviation Committee. He has got National Aeronautical Prize for his outstanding contribution to fundamental and applied work in aeronautical sciences in 2001. And he has inspired all of us to be what we are. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Yogesh, for your very nice words. First of all, I would like to Thank you very much, Professor Society of India and the President sir, for giving me this opportunity to share experience of an extent investigation which happened nearly 40 years back. And I think most of the people were not in government service and not knowing the details at that time, what happened, how it happened. My sincere objective was only to this one. I have the full knowledge because I was involved in that investigation A to Z and controlling almost everything, technical investigation. I was my sincere view was that I must share this experience with the new generation. And for that purpose, the credit goes to Dr. Sharma and Mr. Handaji. Handaji initiated 5 years back this proposal that on the 23rd June you were to give the lecture when he was at DCAI on this day. But unfortunately, Corona came and then could not make it back. Dr. Sharma took over from that one. He became interested in knowing this actually. So he initiated and pushed me. A lot of other things he pushed me. And he took so much of interest that this thing came up. I thank President Sir, and Mr. Sharma and other colleagues, all of you, for sparing time in the evening coming and listening to me. I hope it will be technical, informative, if nothing else. Okay. Before going further into this, this is just a title, but you will see here it is not purely investigation only. Oh, sorry. It will not.
Hear you, can't hear you.
It's how it was agency. RNet, because aircraft was last printed by the place where the profession. Now we have no visa. Nobody has visa. Ireland said, don't worry, you come without visa, we'll give you there. So we reached the team is there. Team carried out the immediately when we wanted to do, we hired a small aircraft, today or some other aircraft, 5 8 seater, and we took that aircraft and we had known the latitude, longitude given by the Sherman Navy said because they thought this is a point that we will pass last. recover items, people will say, hey, they're wasting the money, how much money? No evidence and they're recovering whatever they want to. So it is not an easy task to identify that you recover this item, you don't recover this item. Okay. So it was a very challenging job. Accident happened 20 seconds. July was the last date after which we had to recover it. Very challenging. After that, we will still do the same procedure. If recorders were not recovered, then lost forever. You can't do it. It was a big challenge for investigation. This is a, you see this underwater locator bucket? This is a recorder. It is not a black box. I don't know why it's called black, it is orange color. It is orange color. Flight recorder, you will open, but this is the underwater locator. What is the size? A tiny 1.3 inch dia. The diameter of that one is 1.3 inch. And it how much of 4 inch long. Length. But what happened, I'll tell you. So this is that magic printer we call it, which helps us in retrieving the code. capability to lower the as they call it, also later, to pick it up. I want to get both the facilities, not one facility. British were very unhappy that they reduced the against that this man doesn't go to the already a loss of location. I said, no. It has to be located, but it has to pick it up now. I cannot. So the ships were advised. It was then this French ship, which was having more the capability, it was not available free. So government of India hired a ship at that time, $30,000 per day concession rate. Now I'll tell you a government of India program. People said where is the sanction for the money? Investors said every sanction was spending $30,000 per day. Fortunately, the government is then was the pilot. And I had none. So he had given instruction to all the investors, all the financial thing everywhere. And nothing will be asked any approval, government approval for the money center. Do the spending and send the bill later. Don't ask for government approval. Otherwise you can't get it. How will you know how many days you require the ship? You don't know whether it takes 1 day, it takes 15 days, how much money you want it. So the ship was hired by government of India, 30,000 considered at that time. Because it had the whole capability to hire it. Otherwise, what is the ships were advised to use the previous signal, already a signal 37.5. The crew was told that this is a signal you use to locate the recorder. The ships crew was shown the actual recorder. We have taken the actual recorder from India and shown this in normally how it looks like. And briefed about the precautions for getting the recorder to mention. This is I did it for the problem. On one side, the recorder there is the electronic media. Other side of the recorder there is magnetic tape, just like a cassette recorder. So I had told them do not pick up the recorder if the jaw was very strong for drifting tons of liquid. Don't crush it. If you crush it, then the whole thing will be gone. So I attributed the problem there. So the ship's crew was shown actual recorder and briefed about the precaution. That was precaution. That don't grip it too hard for gripping the recorder to prevent damage of the ticket, tape damage and even see. Air India Air was positioned to assist identification recorders. Now that ship had the videography. So how to identify it? I picked up one my and he was positioned also to help the ship people to identify from the photo of the third party. So he was positioned on the ship to identify the color. Standard operating what I learned from the American people of this. Standard operating procedure are prepared for coordinating. They used to ask me every time. Let's make it SOP. I learned that. Standard operating procedure was for coordination. How to coordinate? What is the authority? What is the authority? What is the authority? Control center. So the SOP was prepared. And ships were advised to send regular reports to control center. Now the very first I'll come to program. It is a submersible craft used for cable repair and materials carab. It's basically craft for repair and cables are laid down to communication cables are laid down. It's basically meant for that. That it is laying down the cable and for repairing it. Tethered manpower. From the ship, it is a tethered one. It is not detached or it is a cable attached. Vehicle which can work up to 6,000 feet. But we have been at that time 6,700 feet. So there was initial Samadhi to them, but they agreed we will do it up to 6,700 feet. There and the remote monitor. Now this is the dentist at higher benefit, and without that you can't recover. So there is no possibility. So I have to no. We need an so this corresponds with the this year, and this was hard for $30,000 at that time. Now location recorders, signal. First you have to look at the signal, location only. I'm going to that what job is very long. First one, locate, signal, location of recorder signal. Ships work 24 hours a day and send regular reports. Okay. Control center caught analyze the reports and issue direction. If what else they were doing, making logbook and making entry. On 4 July, this is where the 4 July, Guardian was UK. Reported 2 signals at 30 and 42 kilometers, not 37. Also it was same, but the frequency was 32 and 42. Why it happened? Even though it is designed for 1000 G, very heavy, like snake structure, it was damaged, facing was damaged. And what happened? The transducer inside was cracked. And once the transducer was cracked, the frequency got altered. Frequency got altered, so it was not 37.5, not even 37.5. The damage to the body of that recorder caused the transducer crack and crack, caused the frequency change, caused this is not about recorder. So what we did, the idea of a pincher signal based as a zero was not matching. It was not matching 37.5. So Duke then advised us that if ceramic transporter inside the pincher is damaged, frequency may change but not compulsory. What they say, frequency may be 37.5 or anything up or down, but the pulse rate will remain the one. So you go by pulse rate, not by frequency. Anyway, we change our frequency range also, and so the search frequency band was increased from 30 to 41 because we knew that we are getting a 30 to 42. So we increased our search band. Let us search from 30 to 41 also frequency, but which is giving the pulse rate of 1 pulse per second, because that pulse doesn't get changed. So cloud line locator printer located signals based on the pulse rate, not on the frequency. Transducer they made us roam around the sea searching for before what initially did not out. We kept on roaming out, but later on we came to it. Thereafter, Leon Cavendish ship was considered in such that. So once we have identified the frequency, then Leon Cavendish is the friendship which has got this current that was located in that area. Now recovery will start. So first thing we have done now, location we have done, now the recovery. Or 9th July, Leon Cavendish and the French ship located in the same yard as frequency, not the frequency, the pulse rate was located. 9th July, still we have time. And this was about 15 days back. CVR being concentrated heavy mass, lucky, heavy concentrated mass got detached from the aircraft impact and was lying separated. What will happen? Lose the aircraft self-control. It is such a like a hammer, very weight value. So with this heavy weight, with the impact it got detached and it got removed away from the aircraft. So say we are being concentrated heavy mass got detached from aircraft impact and was lying separately. So it didn't remain in the wreckage, it was outside. Another letter, that wreck area was not slushy, it was rock. It did not form into the mud. So it was very now Scarab gripped the recorders and started finishing. Here that my advice became wrong. I told them don't grip them very tough, otherwise you damage the tape itself and it'll go away. So what happened? Unfortunately, the recorder slipped from the Scarab job after 500 feet. They lightly take it out. Didn't touch them very strongly. 500 feet it was slipped and what happened after? The recorder was not visible because water became muddy at the time. Muddy, what can you do? Nothing. You have to just keep waiting, keep the scarab, then don't disturb the scarab because if it's falling down, it must be there only. Only hope it has not gone inside the mud. If it is inside the mud, then how will it come? So, the recorder was not visible, the water became muddy, and after 4 hours, again, water became clear. 4 hours it took for the water to become clear, nothing, no water. And we were literally dead for 4 hours, sitting and watching it. Fortunately, the recorder had not gone to the mud. We were lucky that it had not went to the mud, it is still the rocky surface, and seabed was rocky. So then the recorder was gripped this time tightly and lifted on the ship on. This time it was tightly, but from the electronic side. Half the electronic side, half the tape side. So the other side, electronic side was gripped. The dead damage, electronic side is get damaged, no problem. So that was gripped this time tightly and lifted on the ship on 10 July. 9 July initially located, it went down, and then 10 July the water gluing initially fortunate. The recorder was lying separately, not in the wreckage. Then unfortunate, after locating it and letting it slip down. Then fortunate again, that we did not go on it at the time. It was fortunate, unfortunate, and unfortunate that it was. Okay. So we recovered the CAR. Now we know our knowledge of them, both IPR and CAR are located in the 747 aircraft. Same, almost same location in the tail portion. From safety region. The tail portion is generally considered safety, and both are recorded. One is on the left hand side, the other is the right side, but almost close location is there. So DFDRC, they are located closely in the aircraft tail for safety region, because that's the safest area. So when you have damage in cases. Now scarab are therefore lowered again in the same area. Scarab are kept here only you will find DFDR also. They were lowered again in the same area, in the same area. And DFDR was found as expected. They were both at same location was found. Fortunately, it was also lying separate. Again, that we were not exactly at. It was lying separate, and the wreckage like cockpit was recorded. When Scarab lifted the DFDR to the ship from 11 July. So 11 July, it is not expected in 13 days. Within 13 days, we recovered both the components. Now, no good thing is like this. I will say. Both the recorders were recovered within the battery life of 30 days. Lucky, we got it. Now, recovery of Yama. Recorders were lying in the sea for 19 days. 30 days, okay, but 19 days. So, in the even though they are in the water type, but for 19 days, sea water may have gone into the recorder. So, that was the blockade. The DFDRC recorder, the sea water might have gone. And seawater has got salt. And what they advised was that if the seawater dries up, the salt will get deposited on the tape. And once deposited on the tape, whatever is recording, you will not be able to recover it. So it has to be kept in the water till you again clean it and take it level it, till then it must remain in the water. So to minimize the integrity of the data, integrity of the recorded tapes, recorders were kept in a drum filled with clean water, not sea water, to prevent the drying of the sea water. The sea water, what might have gone inside, should not be dried. If it dries, then you will salt will deposit and you will not be able to get the data out of that one. It was manufactured, lock-in manufactured, they advised it. And what a salt deposit on recorder magnetic, nowadays not magnetic, nowadays distant. Recorders were kept away from this was it's a magnetic. So the recorders were kept away from electromagnetic field of the ship. Transformers, keep away from the transformer. High voltage, etc. Because it again damages the recorder, so protect the recorder. So they were in the ship itself, they were whatever time they were kept, they were from Leon Savinian, same our friends, say 30,000 per day, returned to court. We were in the court on 12th July. So both recorders came on 12th July within 13 days. Now recorders were then kept in water-filled, separate, fabricated steel cutters. We knew that now recorders were kept in water. So by that time the ship came to the court, steel containers were fabricated to soak them and sell them. So recorders were then kept in water-filled. It was very clean water. Fabricated steel containers and personally carried to Mumbai and now, how do you transportation was a big problem. If you go to lecture, if you go to screening, no, cannot go. So then I requested Irish ambassador, Indian ambassador in Irish. It cannot go through any security. cannot go through the system. So it must be taken without a check. Irish investor, our investor, Mr. Tosi, he requested the Irish government, don't do any check on this one. It is carried personally as a hand baggage and don't do anything. Now Irish agreed. What happened in London? Air India flight was to Britain from London. So London High Commissioner was also requested to request the government not to do any check on that. So very political level which involved. So recorders were then kept. No security screening or X-ray of the recorder containers at Cork or London was done. What else were done? Aircraft came from Cork to London. Air India aircraft was to bring from London to Bombay. The Irish aircraft was allotted the way adjacent to Air India, that both side by side. And this DFDR container will not go outside the aircraft anywhere. It will go from one aircraft to other aircraft inside it. No security. All these things were the government in High Commissioner got it. That you give both the base together and don't do any check on that on the agreement. International thing. So no security screening X-ray of the recorder containing at Cork or London. Transferred directly from one aircraft. Such is the symbol there was got it. And transferred directly from aircraft to another on tarmac. Two aircraft or a tarmac and is transferred from this aircraft or a aircraft tarmac at London airport. And they were carried as his personal luggage. One seat was reserved for the container, and the container was on one seat. He was sitting on that seat. Thanks to our ambassador in our landing for arranging the discussion. It was not possible without the ambassador coming. So this is how the recorders were recovered. Now, recorders came to Bombay. Now it has been downloaded. I remained in court because later on the vacation was still there in house. That also will go. Because for the task which we have defined initially. After the recorder recovery, we have to see that what is the record. So under the code direction, when it came to one, the code direction recorders were taken to PRC for downloading the DFDR data Syria. Now the code is very powerful. Code told everybody, all those who are required as MS-13 participants, you will first give me in writing what is to be done. Based on what you are going to do in USA, what you are going to do in America, Canada, and India, you give me that this will be done, this will be done. Everybody will give me a writing. And then we prepare a work schedule, taking all your views into account. Later on, you will say, this thing was not done, this thing was done. I don't want that one. And only those who give me in writing, they will be allowed to participate, irrespective whether next certain allows or not. You will participate provided you give me in writing that these are the tasks to be done and this how I want to. So they prepare the work program. And everybody signed it. He made everybody sign it. That you sign it, then only allow you to participate in the venue. So detailed work plan was jointly prepared and agreed by experts from NTSB, USA, Lockheed, the manufacturer, the AIV aircraft accident in UK, Canadian Aviation State Board in India. Everybody agreed to the work plan and they will do and sign it. Okay. Tapes were removed and washed with distilled water. Now, tapes were in the container, clean container, but as per the Lockheed, they were to be washed, they clean water, till these water, seawater deposits were all removed from the well. So tapes were removed and washed with distilled water. Where? Our PR, Baba Tomato. The DFDR tape one was then loaded in another serviceable part. This was done. So the tape was removed, it was loaded in unserviceable part. And wires of this recorder were disconnected. That by chance the data should not get deleted. So just as a precaution, wires of that new DFDR were disconnected to prevent accidental data. A copy of the tape was prepared using Lockheed copy recorder. Lockheed copy recorder. So a copy was made out of it. And just said, the original tape will remain with me. This copy you made, that's what you made. Now you can make any number of copies from the copy, but the original will remain with me. So a copy of the tape was prepared using Lockheed recorder. Engineering printout of recorded data was prepared. Also, printout was prepared. But basically, the original tape was as well as just. I will not give them. Only the law can work out popular, make you make copies. I will give you copies everybody. You do whatever you want to give, but you will have to give me your report on that. That everybody, this is what I feel, this is what I feel. Analysis of data. Now we have got the recorder and we have got data downloading. So what is the data? Following important observation made from the digital flight data recorder. Aircraft was stable including a flight level 310 till DFDR stop. Nothing. Last word recorded on that one was that RH was telling the queue for me also immigration pass. That means in London we are going to cut down for immigration to get so that was last conversation. But it was not nothing, no increase. Aircraft was steadily closing till DFDR stop. It was constant heading. It was clean configuration. Clean configuration means there was no elevator, no radar, no elevator. Clean configuration was continued. Autopilot in command. That's the most important. The autopilot was mainly a couple of the pilot. It means there was no emergency or no problem. So autopilot was mainly. No control input given by crew. All controls as it is, whatever the autopilot was given, no control was given by anybody. Control wheel, no control input, no control wheel given, no radar, no elevator, no stabilizer, no engine power. Everything was steady. Constant radar application. As I said, fixed engine pod was there. It is on the very extreme right, and it's causing huge drag. So to counteract that drag, you have to continuously apply the radar, and that was found that constant radar application to offset drag of the fifth pod engine on wing, it was there. So it was normal. There is nothing unreal. No change in pitch, roll, angle, or angle effect or anything. Nothing, no change. Very everything steady. So all four engines were operating normally. AVIATION has said this is a big concern. Here we get engines were acting normally, and wreckage found the engines were not operating at all. I'll tell you later. But the DFDR said that when the DFDR stopped operating, all engines were operating normally. So what did he find from the DFDR? DFDR ruled out various possible cause of accident. It ruled out. A lot of things have not happened. No fire, no emergency, no sabotage, nothing like that was those. Particularly, any technical problem, there were no problems. But gave no direct information of cause. No direct information. So after that was rejected. That teachers, even you so much of information, there was no fire, no nothing, no technical problem, nothing, and it has not told anything about the cause of accident. Okay, but it is ruled out. Now, we have done what is available, and next is Syria. Syria recording. Normal conversion is cockpit till end of the recording. No abnormal, no warning, nothing. Even the cockpit warning, system warning come. There was no warning recorded. There was no warning by the crew or anything. No disaster call, distress call made by the crew. Crew had not made any distress call. There was no all warning. From system technical problem there, in the cockpit, all warnings come. So there was no all warning in any aircraft system or emergency. And now, till now nothing is found. Now comes a big information. An abnormal sound was found recorded on the cockpit AEMI channel of Syria for a fraction of a second, just possible. The cockpit was recorded for four things. One is pilot. After pilot communicates its own channel. One channel is co-pilot channel. Third is the communication with the cabin crew. And fourth one is area mic. Like this mic in the cockpit ceiling, there is an area mic. And that automatically starts on when the engine starts. Pilot cannot stop it, pilot cannot start it. It will automatically when the engine starts. That's called area mic. Any sound in the pocket, you drop pencil, you drop stuff and clean, nothing, small sound, everything will be recorded. Any talk abnormal. So an abnormal sound was found recorded on cockpit AMI channel. The top severe a fraction of a second. But that fraction was 245 milliseconds. What was the second? You see what are they saying? This is just live, starting live to our investigating that we got something as if some big achievement. So that fraction of a second just before Syria started again. Similar sound was also found in the Serenity, same thing. Quarter set, 245 milliseconds. Both Syria and Libya stopped recording simultaneously. The timing of the maximum GMT timing, they were simultaneously stopping. The abnormal sound on Syria tape was the first indication to investigators that some serious event had suddenly occurred just before the quarter second. Nothing happened, and then they stopped recording. And I said the sound began from the particular. Now this copy was made. And it was given to everybody. Just give it to everybody. Let them analyze it and give me the report in writing. What is the sound indicated by your analysis? Now, what is the abnormal sound? Analysis of abnormal sound on Syria. That is the only thing available, nothing else. This abnormal sound recorded in AeSI Chandigarh of Syria tape was analyzed by all associated DRC and DSP US educators. This sound lasted for 245 minutes, just a quarter of a second. Frequency spectrum was carried out. Analysis showed very high rate of rise of the sound. Now, first indication that it's rising the so the analysis showed very high rate of rise of the sound intensity. It is rising at such a fast rate that you do anything in the cockpit, any sound produces in the cockpit, but it doesn't rise so fast. It rises at a very slow rate. So first thing was this: the analysis showed very high rate rise of the sound intensity, very fast rising. The second one was the most important. The decibel level reached in a very short span of time was also very high. The decibel level reached was about 125 decibel, which is much more than any sound. Even the engine sound is not even that 120 full power engine. So that sound is so, in a quarter second, it is rising to such a high decibel level. So these were the two abnormal things in that quarter of time. That the rate of rise and the level of the rise, decibel level, so high decibel, the specific reach in a very short time was very also very high. Such levels cannot be reached by any possible sound. In the cockpit, we can get it out of sight. Up or down, some other item was off, something that, and then those sounds were recorded and then analysis was done. Neither in the rate of rise nor in the decibel level, it was nowhere close to the sound which we have found per quarter second. Then what do we do? The sound characteristics were then compared with explosive sound. The Pune, Defense Research Laboratory, Pune, some explosions were done. They had the explosive item, and the sound was recorded. Then it was found that in the explosion, the rate of rise as well as the intensity of rise, the decibel level, is close to what was found in the rocket wise record of this. So sound characteristics were found similar to explosive sound. So sound quarter second characteristics that were explosive. So it gave fairly good indication that some explosion has occurred in the aircraft just before it. Analysis of latest sound gave the first direct evidence that the aircraft broke up in flight due to explosion. Now, just we were happy that it is explosion if you recall. Just said no. I am a museum. I want what the weapon used. I want what a criminal. I said weapon trade himself is the weapon itself. The explosion which is happened is that the bomb itself, the bomb itself. You cannot find that. You cannot find the weapon yet. Definitely there, but I told you, joking, very close, that you have to forget about that and you have to come to the technical medicine, how technical medicine is. I cannot give you the weapon. The weapon was exploded and it destroyed itself in pieces. You can't get the weapon for this one. So he said, okay, you do whatever the technical evidence is. So what we had, this thing was floating bodies of the characteristic and the bodies. 129 bodies were found floating in the sea. So that was material evidence available to us on the sea. Floating wreckage collected from the Irish coast. That was floating, that was material, you want material evidence. So floating wreckage was available in the sea coast, we collected videos and photographs. And then next motion, mapping of wreckage lying on the seabed. That was a mess we agreed that we will map the whole wreckage and prepare the videos and photographs. Finally, wreckage salvage from the sea vessels contaminated. This is still job now pending after the competence they are recording. Okay. Examination of quantic physical record of bodies. What a fantastic medical evidence I got. 132 bodies of the crash victims were recovered from the sea, 100 female, 32 male. Post-mortem of the bodies was carried out at Cork Hospital in Ireland. And 3 persons were there in India. The AVM, DGMSAR, Air Marshal. He was the president. Then Air India medical assistant also. And Cork Hospital. 3% team was there. And the post-mortem was they carried out, but they did the analysis. Expert medical group headed by IAF, DGMS, doctor, assisted by Air India, examined the pathological record. All bodies were identified based on the image. It was the Irish law. You have to identify the DNA test. No other test. Even if there is no damage to the body, even if it is identified, there is no DNA test as written from Irish law. It was applicable. So they were all identified. Now, evidence. Very valuable evidence of these animal bodies. What is evidence? No evidence of seatbelt fasten. In the here, seatbelt is fastened here. If the crash happens, very severe impact, using G, so you will find the mark here of the bodies of the seatbelt if they are found in that. So, what is there? No evidence of seatbelt fasten. It means when the accident happened, there was no seatbelt fasten. What it does it indicate? Indicating emergency developed suddenly and crew could not park. So the emergency was so fast that the pilot could not warn them that emergency they first the seatbelt. Then next evidence, moderate to external injury on 75% bodies. This is the most important. Floating body, no external damage to the body, indicating these occupants were not present in the aircraft on one. In the crash, if they were inside the aircraft had to get mingled, and these bodies, you cannot have the body without any scratch. If they were in there without any scratch, it means they were not inside the aircraft when the aircraft impacted the body. What does it mean? They were thrown out of the aircraft. What a beautiful evidence again. So, moderate to external injuries are indicating these occupants were not present on water impact. Next, in the technical, no carbon monoxide or cyanide found in the body, ruling out fire impact. In the body, no carbon monoxide, no cyanide. It means there was no fire on the board, on the board aircraft when they impacted. Many bodies, what a fantastic evidence. Many bodies were without clothes or had garments. No coat, no shirt, no pant, nothing except undergarments. Many bodies were without clothes and shirt. What does this indicate? This indicated violent ejection of occupants. The occupants were ejected violently from the aircraft at high altitude. This is the high altitude, the first evidence came here. High altitude means from falling 31,000 to sea. During the process of falling, the clothes were torn. So they were without the clothes. So this indicated violent ejection of occupants of the aircraft at high altitude, and their clothes were torn or removed while tumbling in the air. So that was the indication. Body from the passengers had ejected from the aircraft at high altitude. They were not in the aircraft, so really indicating the aircraft broke up in the air. Then these bodies had come out at very high altitude because there were no clothes, and bodies showed sign of hypoxia, lack of oxygen. If the block explodes in at low altitude, there will be not hypoxia. So hypoxia is because the aircraft is broken at very high altitude, not indicating 31,000, but indicating it is very high altitude, hypoxia, indicating lack of oxygen while falling from the body. So this is the evidence the body gave, almost clearly indicating the aircraft broke in the air at high altitude, and during the tumbling process, they think. Now, furthermore, medical evidence. What a beautiful medical evidence. Pattern of injuries indicated two types of injuries. Injuries caused in air due to tumbling, they caused injury. Injuries caused due to water impact. Now, some bodies had no external injuries, but bones were found broken, small pieces. What does it indicate? You don't find a scratch on the body. But inside the body, no bone more than 1 inch high. Now, this is where I ask that where is the criminal evidence you come here? Have you seen anybody in your investigation, crime investigation, where no scratch on the body, but no bones were broken, no bone margin, small pieces? I have to check. No, you cannot get this evidence any of your criminal investigation. So here is a technical investigation. There are some bodies were no external injuries, but yet bones were broken. Why? This is doctor's terminology. Flare injury. Because flare injury is caused by an uncontrolled rotary movement of the limbs when being thrown out of the aircraft violently at high altitude. When you throw out the body at high altitude, the aircraft is flying at 600 miles per hour, and it is falling from 31,000 to 3,000. What will be the state? It will not be much. It will be tumbling. It will be rotating at a very high speed. During the process of rotation, whatever, just like washing in the washing machine, you see, small thing becomes something in the washing machine. What happens? So this thing caused by uncontrolled rotary motion of the limbs being thrown out of the aircraft violently at altitude and then tumbling in air for considerable time. It doesn't happen in one impact. It is considerable time tumbling before impacting the body. Very clear indication that they were thrown out of the aircraft during the process. Their claws were torn, so only under government. No scratch happened because they did not impact anything. And the bones were broken due to process. Now, this is what I did. Whatever the bodies were there, I found out what happened. Equally, what I think, name was known, so I didn't find the statement was not. I had to create a graph. And all those seats of these passengers in one area, almost one area, indicating that whatever has happened in this area, and these were thrown out of this area at altitude of 31,000. So seating rate of these passengers revealed that they were mostly seated above the front cargo compartment. So medical evidence is indicating indirectly that explosion has at first time explosion is occurred in the front cargo compartment, in the front cargo compartment. And the people sitting above the front cargo compartment were thrown out of the aircraft. So it was medical evidence indirectly giving everything. Floating records did the same thing. The medical evidence is also giving the same thing. Independently, they are giving the same evidence. Okay. And now the bodies have come. Now the next one, what was available was floating wreckage. The wreckage was floating. It was moving at a rate of 15 kilometers per hour, sea waves. And in a couple of days, about 15 days time, it came to the Irish coast. So the Ireland people collected it. And they collected it, the government gave the order, whatever you collected, you bring it with the Cork Island in the hangar. Now I'll tell you one place. They gave us hangar and asked us, you can keep this wreckage there. And quietly, the DGC Irish told me, Mr. KHOLA is hangar because we are private company. And we have to pay him that. Entertain them. So I asked the investor that it cannot be taken as free. And if the private hangar we ever established it, you have to take it. He did not have that even for that. But the investor was doing whatever I was telling, but he said, I cannot do the technical, I'll do all of this. They have very good coordination. So the floating wreckage was washed and was Irish coast was correctly transported to Retd. And it consisted of what? Wing leading edge. Wing leading edge is made of fiberglass. And fiberglass is light in weight, and it was very strong. It's combined fiber there. So it is floating. Skin panels. There were also cabin floor panels, again lightweight. Seats, cabin baggage, paint, lightweight. These were the floating wreckage. Wreckage revealed no evidence of fire and lightning. Here again, no blackish, no fire effect, no burning effect on this wreckage, even though there were seats, but no burning water. So it corroborated again with the bodies. Bodies have shown no carbon monoxide, no cyanide inside. So here also it showed there was no fire in the aircraft. So wreckage revealed no evidence of fire or lightning strike also. Now, cabin floor panels separated upward direction. What happened after due to high pressure it created exposure cargo. Cargo compartment above that one there is the floor panel. It is with the screws. Now, when explosion happened in the car, explosion in the cargo compartment, it pressure created pressure bottom. It will move up. So when it moved with the screws were creating a hole, the edge of the hole is created at the bottom side, not on the top side. When it is being pushed up, the all edge is on the bottom side. All edges were on the bottom side. What is that indicated? This panel was pushed from bottom. Due to, but again, they know and scratch or anything, it's air pressure. So air pressure pushing it up and then creating some sort of edge on the panel on the bottom, clearly indicating the pressure has developed at the bottom of the panel. And if this pressure was not due to anything else, it was like air causing high pressure, and that is pushed up. So, consists of the brackets that there is no evidence like this, cabin floor panel and gave that in. The legs of seat at above the cargo compartment had buckled. Seat, if they also buckled. What is there under the force, vertical force. Buckled indicating floor was subjected to high vertical force control. Shape and soft pattern of damage of leading edge wings, root leading edge number 3 engine inboard cowl, stabilizer leading edge indicate damage was caused. I'll explain the next one. Evidence of floating wreckage give clear indication that aircraft broke up in air. Broke up in air due to explosion in front of the cargo. Now you see here, this is the aircraft. This is the front cargo compartment. This is the front cargo compartment. So if the explosion occurs here, the people sitting above it, they will be ejected. So that seat locations which I had determined, all those people were floating at us, they were also found that they were sitting in this area. So they were ejected from the aircraft at 31,000. Okay. Now what happens after they are ejected? What they do? They are going to come and hit this leading edge, wing leading edge. So leading edge wing. This is what was found in the floating wreckage. Leading edge. Now what else was found? They also hit the engine cowling, front edge. And the cowling was also found in the floating wreckage. So the bodies are ejected from here, they hit the leading edge, they hit the wing leading edge on the engine cowling, and in that process, they get detached. It means the impact force is large. It's not a small force, causing the damage of the leading edge that out of the aircraft. Now what happens? They are traveling rearward. The tail portion, this leading edge of the tail portion also was detached. And it was found in the leading edge. Now most important thing, I examined it. This examination I have done it. What is the shape of the damage caused to this engine? Not even a scratch. Can you imagine it? Leading edge gets detached from the wing and not even a scratch of any impact damage. How does it get? Not air. Air, every day is fine, not air. So what was that thing? It was the force caused by the body. And what was the shape of the damage I found was almost shape of the size of the person. So the leading edge of this one had separated. And in that separation, the force was caused on the leading edge in its shape, which can be caused by human. So the human body, when impacted it, that caused the curve shape of this one, curve shape of the engine curve without causing scratch on the aircraft and the tail plane also. And then this was found in the floating wreckage. It means it was not in the aircraft when it impacted the water. Later on, it was found in the air, so it was separated from the aircraft earlier in the air itself. So this is the evidence again from the bodies hitting in this one that this is how the aircraft had broke up in air. Okay. Now, having done the wreckage, we have done the bodies. Wreckage are all giving almost same indication. At that time, I was happy I got enough material. Why can't you close it? The judge said, "No, I want the material evidence. Judge, I want still the material outcome." Okay. So then we went next step. Mapping of wreckage lying on the city. Mapping means making video photograph or the sheet photograph of the wreckage lying on the seabed, 40 square mile area, 6,700 feet of water. Carry out the photography or videography of the entire area. That is sort of object of the impossible, almost it looks to be never done in this area, but doesn't. Just wants it to explosion. Explosion details, still not known. Why we got the explosion is happened. But what are the details of the explosion? What caused the explosion? Why happened explosion? Not known. So we have to move further. Expert group decided to continue with the initial research. To prepare the video and still photo of the entire area like in seabed, to identify, locate, recover, identify, or side again still like that, identify that not everything, entire aircraft wreckage you can't recover it, and we use expensive. So first identify the item which needs to be recovered, which gives some evidence. That was a test for us. If you recover any item which is no evidence, we would be condemned. Newspaper headlines. They are recovering items which have no evidence. So first identify properly, locate and recover items which could give more evidence about the explosion cause. We are not by that item. That is an explosion. So we have to see the evidence, explosion related. Okay. Now I'll tell you later on that Dr. Ramchandran was ML, who has made assessor at my request, came in picture. Let's see, I'll come later. Now, unique operation undertaken at 6,000 feet, they have never done it. Water pressure at that level is 3,000 psi. Almost hydraulic pressure of the aircraft, 3,000 psi. Very low temperature. We had not known it. People who were still like knowing it, they were not done. Very low temperature. Most important, no light and pitch dark. It was pitch dark. 6,000 feet. Pressure is 3,000 psi. No light, it is pitch dark. And we have to do the photography and videography. That's the challenge. Very difficult, expensive, challenging operation requiring huge resources. But the Prime Minister has given free game. Go ahead. Undertaken jointly by concerned international agencies and investigation necessity to do it. Okay. Now we started mapping, started preparing the videography. So first thing we did that during the course of the search and rescue operation, some photographs were taken. So those were available, already available. That yes, some photographs are available, so let us first read that. Whatever is already available. So the general wreckage spread and rough size of wreckage item was provided by ships while searching the car. At that time, photographs were taken. So some item was available. So wreckage was spread over a 40 square mile. That had indicated. John Cabot's ship provided by CSB. Now, who will make the money? It's never known how much time they did. The capability also. But Canadian people was 260, Canadian people. So they made the expenditure. John Cabot's ship was provided by Canadian Safety Board or deployed for that. Experts from NTSB, America, Canadian Safety Board, Boeing, and India participated. Again, detailed SOP was the talent, standard operating procedure, who will do what, who will report where, what is the authority of everybody, and how the decision will be taken. So SOP was prepared in coordination between ship and control center to ensure smooth. Ship and control center, the cost center were either sitting. Delegation responsibility authority was well defined. They wanted everybody to know. They told me to don't blame each other, you did not do, you did not. The authority and responsibility should be defined. Communication with ship and control center was established during Mercer. It happened 40 years back. None of these video cameras and these communication. We had to do only by facts. Whatever little bit evidence communication was there, by facts. In Mercer communication. This facility was not available here. So that was environment at that time. Okay. Now, mapping started. And the experienced Boeing 737 aircraft maintenance as it was yesterday was position of the ship with the necessary aircraft documents which identification, taken down and maintenance and everything. And to identify when you see the wreckage, okay, what is this item? So he used to compare the aircraft manual that yes, this item is so it's simply was placed on the ship and he was helping the identification. Operation were carried out around the clock. Wreckage item showing valuable evidence for given target numbers with latitude. Whatever it was found that there is some evidence of the fracture there, it was given target number 1, target number 2, like that on 20 of the 4 and 5. And latitude longitude. And they were giving us report, target number so and so, latitude number so and so, and this is the type of the evidence it is showing. And we used to keep it make a logbook in the logbook, make a record of that. So wreckage items showing valuable evidence for given target number, latitude longitude, and control center who serve all their 24 hours coordinating logbook entry. Then transponders operational critical targets to have this. Now we knew these high value items will be on this day. So how to come back again at that point? Not easy. So transponders were there. That is the same day this is even a placement for 747. So he decided, and the transponder was placed on item that if tomorrow sometime later on, if we have to revisit this and recover this item, this transponder will help us to complete. So transponders are placed at critical targets when revision recovery. Control center regulator received the report and recorded information in logbook. Everybody was there. Later this is the chart was prepared. So the next slide. The chart was prepared. We were preparing in latitude, longitude, relative latitude one. Target and latitude. Number latitude, longitude, target. Recorded video tapes were open periodically shown using RFL. Yeah. Video tapes to print, and sometimes it becomes like 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, like that. They used to call those days. How to get that tape? Get the tape from ship. So I used to tell them that I understand we need an RI, we need an RA helicopter. So come from London, go to the ship, lift the videotapes, bring it to the call. See the magnitude of the operation. There was no other way. So, this recorded videotapes were opened periodically from ship using RF. So we need to decide it on the project RF. About 50 videotapes and 3,000 still photographs. That was the total workload of the mapping system. Then ship returned to port in the first week of October. So next slide is done. We have mapped it. Now what is the mapping? Now it is to analyze. What is the evidence available? Okay. Examination of the video. For those videos, have to analyze, somebody has to find out that this is what evidence, what is evidence. So the expert to go through NTSP, Boeing, Canadian and DGCA and Air India assembled at Boeing theater. I was there. We sat on the satellite, I said the thing, all the 3,000 photographs will display and this video tapes. So photographs were displayed on wall on the Roman aircraft layout. It is the manufacturing facility. Expert work for 3 weeks. We worked for 3 weeks to identify the photograph. 1,600 photographs were identified. Out of 3,000, 1,400 could not be found. Even the Boeing people, manufacturing people could not identify. This small piece of kind of damage could not be identified. Expert worked for 3 weeks and 600 photographs were identified. Technician of aircraft under manufacturer. Helped in identification. We used to call them, go and call somebody from there, then he get and let him again, then he will come and identify that. Main wreckage was lying within half a mile. Now, what they showed, main wreckage was lying concentrated in a half a mile diameter again. But wreckage was found scattered over 8 miles. The trail is 8 miles, but the main wreckage is lying in a half a mile. Again indicating the same thing. It broke up in air and things started falling, something in the training and then typical trajectory of a wreckage falling from high altitude. wreckage receivable chart was prepared. This chart was prepared, not very good, but still shows. This shows the chart, the aircraft flying from one direction to another. Initial direction, very small, only few items were there in the beginning, but at the end you find here the main wreckage is there. This is flight direction. So later on, whatever the later on we used to get it, we used to prepare in the cockpit and the control center. So this shows that the wreckage was found, main thing was, the wreckage was found in a linear direction of 8 miles, few items in the beginning, and at the end they made wreckage from the video and photograph. So what mapping showed, this Boeing analysis, but the Boeing facility. Mapping showed first item wreckage plane was a torso. I showed the plane. First item in the plane was a torso plane. It means it has come out of the rear cargo compartment, the front cargo. It's again matching with the floating wreckage and that one. So the suitcase from the front cargo compartment was found. So first 1 mile, again this first 1 mile plane consists of your suitcases and cargo compartments. In the beginning, it was only cargo compartment. So we're confirming thinking further in this one that yes, front cargo compartment had wreckage receiver in the aircraft broke up in flight near cargo compartment. 32 targets of high evidence value were identified. Now this group, this is Boeing, identified at least 32 items have high identified value that they are part of showing the explosion. So 32 high evidence values were identified, which if recovered could give the information about cause of the. So the Boeing group, which was they identified, I asked them, okay, with that, you make it priority. Priority number 1, priority number 2, priority. Priority number 1 is 1, which gives the highest value of evidence. So in the order of the value of evidence you identified. So like that, the 32 evidence value were identified, could give the evidence. Priority of the target recovery was only established by but these are the highest expert group based on evidence. But this is also the highest value. So this is the item going to recover and then always those target from sleeper was very difficult task, but concern necessary. So profile identified 32, now you go. I like it. Now you go and you recover. Chips will be. So now survey start. Mapping is over. Mapping analysis is over. Now survey is over. 32 items. Then the final left. Survey 32. Canadian ship over Canadian ship, John Cavett and Cruzman were jeopardized for survey. NTS we have funded 2 weeks. They were very quick. We do not know how this time is. We will fund the operation for 50. If they continue wrong, you lose. They very good. But Canada didn't do that. So NTSP has funded 2 weeks more, but the remaining was borne by India. Government supported huge cost involved in that and other laws tax, in nylon lift, which with winch and crane was installed. Now you have to recover that. Items are very heavy. How do we recover? Insurance of nylon. So arrangements for a nylon lift and winch and crane was installed. Details of again. Very clear was prepared, defining authority responsible for proper coordination. Now, harvesting was given target recovery and prior to decided value. Now, prior to recovery was that is our number 1, this number 2. Fortunately, all those items have transformed. Thanks to the circuit. That we have placed the transponders on all those, maybe more than that, much more than that, but all those 32 have the transponders. So the latitude will only show that the question of those. So we made our job. We made it intelligent. We made it people in the ship. Made an intelligent job. They initially played the first one. So solvency was given target recovery by the expert. recovery personnel of the ship was shown and given slides target of recovered item captured. So all those slides which we analyzed in the Boeing 32 items, photos and videos were taken out and they were given to the lecture. So go to that lecture also. The transformer is already there. You go down in that area with that ship with the table and right. So now what is the salvage? Now we start salvage operated light. Salvage operated started when after. Nine parts of a record scanner. Scanner is only recovered the recorder. It cannot recover the high item. So small item discarded. Heavy targets were left at papers and left. It took about 12 hours to lift a part from sea back to ship. More than 12 hours for the from ship to water. What was the problem? She had 6,500 feet long cable dangling. Dangling. Because she may be there. You have no control. So it is dangling. So when you lower it 6,000 it is dangling. And in that process, you have to be very, very slow. And that's why it was taking 12 hours to lift a part of seabed to 12 hours. Scarabax is marked. And in that process, when the sea is dangling. So had to return to court for a day. Tried to recover the basket. The basket was there, but it didn't. Now, salvage recovery. After Ramchandra said the alien specialist, alien scientists were positioned on the ship for expert advice. And he had carried the necessary inspection tool. He had taken a microscope. Then whatever item will come, I will examine it on the ship itself, the microscope, and he was positioned on specialist. He inspected the recovered items on the ship itself. And most of them, his knowledge, recovered items were thoroughly washed on the ship and treated with corrosion inhibitor. Now, if that ship is the breakage of the item is not treated with corrosion inhibition, then by the time it goes to the laboratory, the corrosion will start to affect it. So Dr. Ramchandran first cleaned it, and after cleaning the rectus surface, he applied the corrosion inhibition. After recovery of 10 most evidence targets, it was agreed by expert group that enough evidence has been. Now, here is the very careful. He decided 32 items. This group says the item recovered enough, no more required. Because it's dangling 12 hours going up and down and not. Who will decide? After it was, and weather has become bad, deteriorated, sea has become rough. So I asked, yes, you the boss? And he said, you are with us. Technically, said you there. I asked permission, he gave the permission. Boeing had said 32 items were required. Just said you are the technical manager, you decided. I knew Ramchandran, Dr. Ramchandran, and the scientist, that he is very competent. If he says it is adequate enough information given, then we will get it. He decided how it. Because she wanted to be very rough, handling and breaking, so operation will have. Ship returned to port on December. Recovered items were then transported to Mumbai. The recovery, once we recovered, then they came. Bombay, DRC and Pune. Now this is wreckage being lifted from sea. You see this one wreckage item, you see these cables and winches there. So this is how the items were recovered from the sea. But such a huge job. Locating it, tying it down, it's not manned, unmanned. Unmanned 6,000 you tie down tons of load and then lifting up with all these handling. Lifting up. Here is Dr. Ramchandran. Dr. Ramchandran, he is cleaning. He is cleaning the wreckage. And this is part of a part of panel. You see the panel, it is not damaged otherwise. It has the holes, as you can expect. It has got the holes, exposed holes, but not damaged. It's a real part of the bottom. So in this cargo compartment, he's cleaning it. He's a metallurgist himself. And he was later on so he is cleaning it. The case item being washed on the ship itself. And after cleaning it, like the corrosion indicator now, explosion of salvage racket item. Now, like now, metallurgy. Now, job is simple. Now it's metallurgy. The level job. So, detailed material examination record items are carried out at the ARC by experts from India. Fuel line portion round to us, second right hand side. Right of this cargo compartment as well. That door had a number of holes with peters bending outward. Peters bending outward means what? Something from inner side, forced it to open it inside to outside. So peters will go here. And cargo rupture from the top. Skin panels from the cargo compartment had a large number of holes showing force from inside to outside. From inside to outside, all holes were peters outside. Holes have circular currents and bullish currents. These are the most important items. Two items. Every hole had a blue color. You put anything, you put you put any damage or this break it, the edge will not become blue. How the blue becomes? It's almost hypersonic speed. When the hole is caused at a hypersonic speed, heat is generated. And when the heat is generated, the hole has become blue. If you have shown by metallurgical experiments, nothing other than an explosion which is hypersonic speed will cause the whole bluish color. Skin panel from the cargo had holes had structural color as it is and bluish color. So bluish color is possible only with the high speed explosion and circle curves. Curves were it is not simply coming out. It coming out and becoming circle twice. You put the anything over, it curve will come outside, but the curve will not begin again when in a circle again. That is only possible if it is hypersonic or supersonic. But with that such high speed, it will not be the curve only will come out. The curve will become bend again. So the experiments were done. Pune, explosion. To match what this characteristic can cause, what this hole can cause, which is very bluish in the color and which goes double color. So this is the most important item. There's holes, there's circular curves and bluish color. Two very important features on surface caused by heat generated due to high speed. And that heat is only when the explosion is on. Microscope metallurgical examination of record items showed fins in this third item. In the holes, the metal has flowed. As like it is like a soft material rubber. The metal has flowed. It's called fins. Metallurgical examination. Fins. So it was such a high speed that it is not causing hole, it's only flowing the metal in the edge. So microscope metal examination record items showed fins in grains or reflective surface. So three items. The curves twice entering, the bluish color, and the showing twins. Three features are not caused by anything else other than any explosion which is at high speed, right? Almost supersonic speed. So these features, three features, are normally associated with high speed explosion. So this three features of the holes, which I showed in the cargo compartment hole outside, were giving indication that it was only this. Now, wreckage package comparison with experimental explosion. Now, naturally, it is a theory. You prove it by experiment. So, Pune Defense Metallurgical Laboratory conducted some explosive damaging and showed what is the structure and the experiments were conducted Defense Research R&D Laboratory, Pune, on fabricated structure of cargo compartment to produce explosive structural damage of high order. So, create some explosion damage at a very high speed velocity. Now, experimental explosive surface was found having similar curves, bluish color. That these three features which were found in the actual cargo are available only in the explosive. Metallographical examination of fracture surface of adjacent gas were also found somewhere. Quinine, the third quinine, was also found in the explosive damage. So similarity of features observed fracture surface of wreckage item and those of experimental flows that established that explosion is occurred on the right side of the cargo. The very recent feature which is not possible. First thing I said, the sound is not possible by anything other than explosion. Water second rising to such a high level. Same thing here, this type of damage fracture holds are not possible by anything other than explosion. So it proved explosion on the right side of the cargo. Now this is a showing explosive side. You see a hole number 4, and this explosive damage. This actual activity. So these wreckage, these holes were examined in KHOLA and experiments were conducted and then compared. Now, final thing, where from the bomb came. This is asking where the bomb came. So source of explosive device in Kanishka. Now, this is my industry. We went to Vancouver. One passenger checked at Vancouver. I was there in Vancouver. On CP Air, Vancouver flight. Now, the CP Air, Canadian Pacific Air passenger traveled from Vancouver, not traveled. He had sent his baggage from Vancouver to Toronto on CP Air flight and interlined on the Air India flight. So I went to Vancouver, asked that how she did it. Now, this man, he got his baggage interlined on Air India flight today, Toronto, Delhi, even though he did not have a confirmed reservation connecting Air India flight. Can you have it today? I don't have any confirmed reservation. I interline on that aircraft. I don't have confirmed reservation, but it happened on that day. That he interlined from Toronto to Bombay, that baggage. The passenger did not board the ship air flight after checking. First thing, after checking in and interlining on Air India without the confirmation, it does not board that flight. Doesn't come on board. Doesn't happen today. But it will not board. CPR brought to Toronto baggage of the passenger who was not on board. CPR flight brought to Toronto that baggage. Now, when the interline baggage along with the checked baggage of originating passenger and Toronto was being, so Toronto it came. It was mixed up with the originating passenger who was starting from Toronto. And X-ray was being carried out of the baggage. What happened? X-ray machine broke down. The X-ray machine at Toronto broke down. What happened? Remaining baggage was checked by hand method. No matter the body checking, hand method detector, the Air India supervisor said, if the X-ray machine has failed, I can't get it offline. Check it with by the hand method detector. They can't detect the baggage. The identity interline baggage was loaded on Toronto. It was checked by hand method detector, which can't do it. And what the reason I asked him, why did you say? He said it was Sunday. Mechanic was not available to check the X-ray machine. I didn't want to delay the flight. So I said, let's just check it with VT-EFO. Here is not recorded. So the interline baggage was loaded on Toronto in container, which was loaded in the Kanishka aircraft to the right hand side near the front, where that baggage number is came from Vancouver, and which was loaded in the container, that container, which location. Every baggage item I which and container was in the cargo compartment where the explosion happened. So all things are matching during this time. So the interline baggage was loaded in Toronto in container which was loaded in the Kanishka aircraft. Kanishka departed Toronto with suspected baggage on board. The man is not on board, but the affected baggage is on the board. The interline baggage contained in the explosive device, which detonated during Montreal event, and that detonated during the flight from Montreal to explosive Tokyo. Now, this is the Tokyo unbase, this is the area. the Vancouver people had much bigger plans. They wanted to explore two area Boeing 747 at the same day. So another passenger, a passenger checked at Vancouver on the same trip from Sophia flight to Tokyo. Vancouver to Toronto, Tokyo, he checked in. He interlined his, he had confirmed his origin or India from Tokyo to Delhi. He interlined his baggage on Air India flight to Tokyo to Bangkok to Delhi. Fine, no problem. This passenger also did not board Vancouver CPS flight. Both the passengers. He also did not board Vancouver. See the situation at the time with Canada. Passengers are not board. The baggage are going on aircraft. Not only on the aircraft, they are interlined on the aircraft. So CPS flight departed Vancouver with baggage of passenger who was not to where? To Tokyo. This baggage exploded in transit at Tokyo. When it was being transferred from the CPA to Air India flight on ground, the timing of that explosion was wrong. It exploded on the ground. So CPA flight, this baggage exploded in transit Tokyo in a car, baggage carrying car, while being transported loading onto Air India on ground. What happened? Explosion in Tokyo occurred 55 minutes before Kanishka. That's a coincidence. That 55 minutes before Kanishka, the explosion on this thing had happened. Now, 2 persons were killed and 4 injured. I come to Tokyo, I was roaming around here and there, and then I asked them how this thing happened. So they said, we have no suspicion. It was being carried by people and that 2 people and they gave us a call. Japanese authorities investigate this, which happened in Japan. So this part was investigated. And briefly in the investigation, they find what it happened. Now, connection between the 2 explosions. One explosion in Tokyo, one explosion in Kanishka. 2 persons made reservations to travel on CPA between Vancouver, one to Toronto and other to Tokyo. It's clear 2 persons. And from there interline on Air India flights to them. Okay. Reservation done at the same. Now this is my reservation by both the people. I found out the help of the RCM. They made the reservation at the same time by the same agent. Same address, same platform. Initially they made it for 12 plus. But later on, the part of the realized why to spend for we are not done. They both changed to economy simultaneously. So same telephone number, same type of booking, Vancouver. So same time. Now on check-in at Vancouver, both the baggages were interlined to 2 Air India flights. And from one to Air India flight, another to Tokyo. And one had no confirmed state on Toronto connecting. One had no confirmed, but it was interline. One interline baggage exploded and ground on Tokyo airport, and other on the area Kanishka airport within 55 minutes. The 2 explosions occurred within 55 minutes. No effort was made to get refund of not traveling baggage. If you don't travel it, you get the refund. No effort was made by both of them to get the refund of the. So these facts indicated a plan to explore 2 Air India aircraft in flight almost simultaneously. So that was the issue. Now, we have another part about the court. Investigation reports were submitted to Court of Inquiry by Inspector Regn, by the Inspector, and various experts who did the CBI analysis, who did the metallurgical analysis, they group also submitted to the court. Various groups on examination of DFDR, CBR, medical evidence, protein evidence, videotapes, and photographs. All the groups submitted to the court. Court examining the record of the aircraft crew and those related to the flight. These documents became main evidence in the court proceedings. Court visited court. They came to the court also to get on the site evidence. Oral evidence of various personal record. I was also examined in the defense court. whosoever did the investigation, all the good members, they were asked in the court to come and they could witness for. And anyone could ask any question, just to show that it is a reliable investigation. So oral evidence was very important to record. Parties in the investigation also submitted it. All parties, so judge said, you take the CVR case, you take the DFCR case, but give me the report. Right, right. So all the parties also submitted it. Based on the evidence gathered, the court concluded the investigation. Now, I'm not able to do it. Government actually has not made these reports. Whatever the judge made the public, whatever reports I gave, the court of evidence, other people gave, just made everything for me. But what the judge wrote, not made for me. So I have not written a cause of action. What the judge said cause? I didn't write a cause of action because it is a written of judge and it is not made public. So anyway, I'll come later. Investigation of security action. Now see, little bit of security how it happened. Most passengers were Canadian nationals and flight originated from Canada. RCMP Vancouver Court did investigation of security action. RCMP was associated from University of India. They participated in the Indian University last week. They were Canadian mountain. Canada had committed huge resources. And they said all the ships were given by Canada resources in the Indian University. RCMP identified the persons who did the reservation. That part was done by them. That was not part of my study. So that part was done by them. Who did the investigation? CPR identified the baggage of flight. They identified the person. Then I myself and Air India engineer, he was called by the Vancouver court to give a just like they gave the evidence to India, we were asked to come to Canada and give oral evidence to Canadian court. So we traveled both of them, Shiv and myself, we traveled to London. It was on that, it was 9/11 in America, explosion occurred. But could not go beyond 9, they could not go beyond London. So entire space in America and Canada was there. So we had to stay at London. And we traveled to London but could not go beyond this thing, explosion occurred. And Canadian space was closed. So we returned. So that is very how the security aspect. Now, as I said, people were traveling without confirmation. They are not traveling on the aircraft under reservation. What is it? Who is in charge? What is the rule regulation? So the ICAO measures. It was basically the responsibility of the ICAO to have the international regulation auditions. India submitted the investigation report. Investigation revealed serious deficiencies in security regulation system. And system checking baggage traveling in flight without passenger on board. How can it happen? Passenger is not board, but you have traveled. But it was the ICAO regulation did not prohibit that. Baggage and passenger at the airports are inadequate to detect the explosion. Whatever checking was completed was inadequate. All ICAO weaknesses. In-flight explosion of 2.5. Now what happened was, ICAO was deliberating to improve the security related measures of unaccepted the security aspects of it. Now it was going very slow. What happened? Meanwhile, in-flight explosion of Boeing it was American aircraft, which was blown up in Pan America. This accident highlighted weakness in ICAO security. So then it pick up the speed. Now US aircraft had also blown up. So it picked up. So ICAO action then gathered momentum and was put faster. Unexpected, was 13 was totally over. Whatever was unexpected was totally inadequate. So it was overhauled. Various security arrangements relating to screening of the passengers, matching check baggage, and boarding. Now you see, whatever it is today's measure, how strictly are. So it was all made at that time. And who made it? India made the major contribution to it. India made you prepared the news unexpectedly on security. India prepared the unexpected And now nothing of that sort can happen. Overall of India, that is overall of the economy. What is Indian overall? Available security regulations were earlier were DGC. The security part was also part of the. It was Director Civil Aviation Security in the DGC. No, he could not perform the job order. So DGC as the Director Civil Aviation Security. Post major announcement of a CAOS agreement, Bureau of Civil Aviation Security was created. What is BCS? It was created. The DGC concluded. DGC basically safety regulator, not a security regulator. So another agency, BCS, was manned by specialist of security, was created under Minister of Civil Aviation and to enforce the ICAO and national law. So BCS was born as a result of this. Initially, BCS did not have a huge power under aircraft act or rules. Fantastic. BCS was created, but in the rules, no powers, no specific what to do. The BCS DG was giving the draft rule of his rule regulation to me, and I used to sign the BCS, the BCS. That was how we were working together. That he doesn't have power issues, but he is very stronger. And you have the powers, okay, I will prepare it, sign it, and give it to you, and you issue the BCS. That's how it works. But later on, we said, no, this arrangement was not. So they were given their own power. Necessary powers were subsequently given to BCS. So BCS has established a very sound civil aviation security in the country to make it globally secure. You see how secure the aviation is now, how BCS is secure. So that is born out of the Kanishka. This is nothing, this is documentary was prepared, this commission on the Kanishka. And myself and my wife, for him, myself, called. That you explain to us how this thing is. That was after my return. If both of us came, and then they prepared, radio paper prepared, and then it came on their channel. So that's the documentary was prepared on this. Now, Kanishka accident investigation, BCS celebrates its annual day. And what was the birthday was Kanishka. So they asked me, we are going to have an exhibition. Mr. Everything was government is kept secret, everything was displayed. BCS didn't thought on that. So all reports which was kept by DGC as a secret were displayed. But what happened? BCS said it was born out of the Kanishka accident and you were the investigator. I was asked to inaugurate the exhibition. Vigyan Bhavani. Prime Minister was to come, he could not come. Civil Aviation Minister came. So they made an exhibition on Kanishka. And I was asked, this is DGCA. This is not DG, this is DG BCS. DG BCS. And I mean, he asked me, when you inaugurate it, we were called on those things. And you will look. Okay, conclusion. And I not writing because of accident. And prohibited. So, but conclusion is same, whatever I have written, what I know. Kanishka accident, one of the most serious disasters in Indian aviation, was caused by in-flight explosion. Investigation brought out various deficits in the aviation security regulation. The cover regulation is totally inadequate, so it's secure. Consequent investigation, civil security regulation was significant. The cover 17 is much more severe. The cover 17 security staff was extensively expanded. Indian civil aviation security regulation system was overhauled, and BCS was created. Director Civil Security removed from DGCA, BCS was separate. Investigation involved huge expenses, extensive support from various Indian embassies, as you said, how they support. Foreign governments also support. Canada embassy. Full support from highest level in government. It would not have been possible. Government rules nowadays, you ask, give me the permission, give me the sanction, nothing. So the full support from highest level made it possible. A highly challenging, but I enjoyed it as an investigator. As an investigator, I enjoyed But during the course of investigation, I was very, very uncertain that whatever we have planned, it will be very difficult. Nowhere in the world. But it finally came out. Sincere thanks to those who made the huge investigation task force. Canadian Aviation Safety Program. I consider them the maximum support. They were passengers and TSA USA Boeing, Ukraine, that small institution and Lockheed to give us the problem on that. Irish Civil Authority, they helped us a lot. Cork and Semi airports, Cork Hospital, and Indian community. When we were working at the airport, even at night, sometimes I used to look at the meet Noble, and the wife of the ambassador used to serve the Indian passenger relatives who were staying here, and she used to bring food for me and control. That you are sitting 24 hours here, sitting was here. This is also. So, community and army. Accident investigation bureau, UK, they provided help. Even though they criticize me, but the helicopter was provided by them to take from the information. French authorities, Pennsylvania was there who look at it. Then Baba Atomic Research Center, maximum work was there. Defense explosive or until everything materials. Then it's all there. And yeah, Dr. who made it make sure that the decade portion is well preserved. Indian embassies in Ireland, UK, USA, Canada. So all those security checks were not done because of them. And finally, it's out. And my was peace and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your exclusive experience with us. I'm sure all of us have beautiful insights from your experience. Questions, if anyone maybe has.
Know that annual task, what I understand, what you have gone through and this investigation was done. And it was first of its kind. So I just want to understand whether any SOP as the FAA or any regulation agency has made for such type of investigation. Because two more accidents happened after that. Like MX 370 which happened while Indian Air Force 370 proper.
The SOP is very much there after this accident.
Like we had even to do accidents in
military aircraft. For civil aviation, it's very much. So MS 370, the same was followed.
So they have utilized the SOP and
Obviously, because after this particular accident, then the ICO was also an informed organization. So they came up with a guidance material. And that guidance material was used obviously in many other countries, including MS.
but it was still not going in particular direction the way we have gone, and we have isolated the call.
I mean, MS 370, nothing was found, no wreckage was found. Today there is no wreckage.
In spite of all these SOPs available, I would still not understand why we are not able to. Is it politics
investigation
or
will
is
start
it
once the
the
wreckage
SOP
is
which
found.
was lacking?
Accident investigation will start its process when the wreckage is found. So if the wreckage is not found,
The point is that in this case, we didn't have any SOP, and we found the cause, wreckage, and very limited number of countries were participating in this. The cost of the expedition was borne by government of India, maximum. But in that case, the conclusion was not so clear. And
it's impossible. Nothing is there.
that was the question. Why we should use the SOP and find out the reason that we didn't have an SOP to follow?
It's very difficult to template the two together. One is a different ballgame, one is a different ballgame. And though there may be SOPs, one can understand there may be ways to go around doing it. But there are two different templates altogether. Right? So it's not possible, it's not been happening.
I want to comment on the 370 also. Because he is most active.
370, of course, he's asking anything if you have.
Malaysian
And
Airlines.
Malaysian aircraft which has gone missing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Now we move on to Chairman Nautical Society of India. Now facilitate the speaker.
This is a formality.
Answer.
Table खाली दो, table खाली. Table पीछे.
Slowly.
Please come. Please come. Doesn't matter. More to matter. Please come. नहीं आप ही जा.
So pleasure, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All the very best to you.
You have shown us everything frame by frame.
I hope I could. I could explain it.
Oh, yes, definitely. In fact, it is a good lecture to be given in the flight safety conference there as to how we do those courses there. Na? But it is a very apt case. One study to be done in that flight safety. We have a flight safety course which is conducted every year.
He's also done the course then.
We also done that course. But this way of actually disseminating the information, it will be a good eye opener to
will go.
Very
My intention was that the entire information is known to young generation.
Actually, that's exactly what I'm saying.
So that's why I wanted to share it. And in fact, it's not one place. I've done it 2-3 places. I've done it in Bangalore, where the function is same again. Bombay also I have, and my own AGC officers.
What is happening is that in the case of Air Force,
AIB officers. AIB officers, officers. So I don't know a number of this, but people are demanding it. So I suppose a simple one thing, but not known. Not anything big thing, but not known.
And that was 40 years back.
40 years back, and things are very different.
In fact, I tell you, 23rd June 2025, I was to deliver this stock in Air India. With the American ambassador, I was discussed. But then the 12th June accident happened. And the accident happened.
Good, sir. All the very best to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All the very best.
Thank you. So nice of you. Really, thank you for
Good, very nice. It's an honor to speak like this.
So now moving on to the final facilitation. So now moving on to final facilitation by Shri Kanishka, President Pecosa. Sir, it is by the Pecosa, sir. Facilitate, sir.
I don't like it. I don't.
Please.
I don't like it alone.
No, sir. Please.
It's not good. It's collective.
Aha.
We are staying here, sir.
These are the souvenirs from Pecosa, sir. You being from Peck, sir, it's an honor that being presented to you with us. And this is a souvenir and booklet of Pecosa, sir. And you can even have the badge, sir. It is the bag, sir. Yes, you will.
Sir, thank you very much. Thank you.
Dr. M. Raghavendra Rao, Chairman, Aeronautical Society of India, Chandigarh Webcast. Sir, can you be sir? He is the host for the event. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, this is for you, sir. This is all our home. I know, sir. Professor AeSI Chandigarh. Sir, Actually,
Lot of hard is done.
He made it possible. He made it possible.
actually, we were Vivek Luthra, RDRC, and
Really an honor to just stand in front of sir.
now Mr. Aurobindo Nanda, DGAII.
Formally.
Formal.
Thank you, Shimon. You did a wonderful job. But I have problems of.
These are all tech in line.
I am not a PEC alumni.
Sir, but you are always the founder of the society. Sir, please come, sir.
Please, come.
Please. Up please, please. Sir, ये भी.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We can have a group picture. अगर पैक से और भी कोई प्लीज है तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा यहाँ पे अगर आ सके जो भी पैक से है जैसे तो यार बहुत से लोग हैं प्लीज आइए सर प्लीज आइए प्रोफेसर प्लीज आप तो आइए यू आर द फॉरवर्ड चेयर ऑफ सोसाइटी सर प्लीज गोयल साहब बली साहब प्लीज आप एयरफोर्स को रिप्रेजेंट अकेले कर रहे हैं सर प्लीज कम आई नो सर
64 lakhs.
हाँ जी सर
Next one is good.
एक लाइट ऑन रखो
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you everyone. I would like to thank Engineer KHOLA Saab. He is the first batch of aeronautics from India. He passed in 1964. Just to prize him, he did his 2 years as a mechanical engineer from PEC and later 2 years as a nautical engineer from PEC. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time and your insight into the experiment. I must also thank the Director TBR and Chairman Aeronautical Society of India, Dr. Rao, for his being a wonderful host and letting us having this event for the awareness of all the Aeronautical Society members. Thank you, sir. I must appreciate the guidance and the initial support given by Professor AeSI Sharma from Punjab Engineering College, who could persuade Engineer KHOLA Saab to come here and have us awareness for this session. Thank you, Sharma sir. I also thank Group Captain Handa Saab, the former DG of AAIB, who could give an insight from all those things. Thank you, sir. I also thank Air Marshal Sukhchand Singh sir, who would spare his valuable time and be at this event, sir. Thank you, sir. I also thank all the team members of the society, especially from the Air Force, from the TBR, from CSIO, and all other members who are part of this thing. Thank you, everyone. The event concludes over here. Thank you.
After all, whatever you started by yourself.
I think this must go in textbooks as a case study.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
He can only write.